Hey everyone, how are we all doing? Well, the good news is the time's finally come for me to go through all the questions that you all left. So thank you for leaving them. I was thinking maybe like 10 to 15 would be sort of a good amount to do. But as you can see, I think I've got a good 37. Some of them aren't really questions, sort of like responses to others. But look, I'll do my best to go through them all. We'll try and answer every single one. Could take a while, but let's see how it goes. So let's go into the comments. I think I'm just gonna pick them out at random, and so yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see when no one pops up. Let's get this show on the road. Alright, the first question comes from Peter. Sorry, I don't want to try and pronounce your last name there, I'll probably get it wrong. Asks, you appear to do quite a few solo trips, as I've done myself. Do you ever consider the outcome in the event of the unthinkable? Safety numbers is practiced by the walking clubs, as you would be aware of. Do you carry a sat phone or ePerb for peace of mind? I don't carry a satellite phone. I do carry a personal locator beacon. I think that's a pretty essential thing to do on any walk, even if it's solo or with other people. Do I consider the outcome of the event the unthinkable? Yeah, I guess I do. This one is from Gustav and the Wind. Hey Luke, could you please provide some guidances on how I know the water from the creeks and streams is drinkable or not? In Tasmania, generally water is going to be fine to drink, especially flowing water in national parks. There's very little contamination out there. I guess some exceptions would be rivers that are polluted from mining on the west coast, and maybe if there are forestry coups upstream. So the general rule of thumb is that you can drink water, especially if it's flowing water. Which camera do you use shooting these videos? I use a Canon PowerShot SX730HS. It's filming at the moment, so you might have to Google it to see what it looks like. But it's not waterproof or anything, not like a GoPro. Is it possible to do Mount La Perouse return in a day from Limestone Quarry Road? Great channel, mate. Thank you. Yes, it is possible to do Mount La Perouse return in a day. I've never done it. It's one for summer because it's anywhere between about 5 to 7 hours one way, from what I've heard. But hey, it might be a good one to do. Mouse on a Mountain asks, hey Lucas, a couple of questions. Looks like there's more than a couple there. Would you be up for a hike with a fellow YouTuber? Sure, why not? Also, I want to say on this question, it's just sort of related. If anyone is interested in doing a walk with me, send me a message. I suppose, yeah, Facebook will probably be fine. Or some other way if you can work out how. I'm thinking about Western Arthurs or Duquesne Range sometime in mid-February, so if that interests you, send me a message. But yes, I guess I probably would be up for a hike with a fellow YouTuber, or anyone. Have you done a first aid course? I feel like it's a good idea to. I have done a first aid course, it was about a year ago, so, yes, I do think it's a good idea to, not just for hiking, but for everyday life in general. How much research do you generally do before a hike? I like to go through and do a bit of research, especially on walks I've never done and know very little about. I think it's not the most fantastic idea to go off on a remote walk and not look into it at all, not know what you're getting yourself into. So yes, I generally do a bit of research. Have you ever been in a situation that made you think twice about solo hiking? Yeah, I guess it's just any time safety's at risk. You could think about the time I nearly stepped on a snake coming down from the Thumbs. That wasn't on camera. That thumb trip was quite dangerous, actually. There was also Mount Anne, because I did that by myself. When I got to the really exposed section, that was a bit of sort of, gee, yeah, should I really do this or not? Alright, next question comes from Ty R. Celto. On your Wilds Craig walk, you were able to video a cat. Have you encountered many cats on other walks? No, I'm pretty sure that's the only time I've ever seen a feral cat in my life. Yeah, I did actually hear about that Collins Cap helicopter incident. Hopefully it all turned out well. Bunyaville Trail Runners asks, what do you use to treat water on longer trips? And then Checking for Change has replied saying, interesting question, I'm thinking of buying a live straw for a trip to Sri Lanka. Yeah, I don't do a lot of water treatment. As I sort of said earlier, water in Tasmania is generally pretty safe to drink, but I have taken a live straw on trips before. But yeah, generally that's the only water treatment I've ever done. I've never had some sort of waterborne disease from drinking water in Tasmania, so at the moment I don't feel any inclination to take, tablets or soy or anything like that. Mark Ensby asks, what's one thing you never leave the house without on your walking days? Can I say car keys? No, that's a bit of a cheat answer. I would say water is something I never leave the house without. I was going to say raincoat, but then I realised there have been a couple of trips I haven't taken a raincoat. The camera? No, it's tough, because some day walks, you don't need to take a raincoat or anything like that. It's a bit of a cheat answer to say water, but that generally is something I'll never leave the house without on a walking day. And probably locator beacon, to be honest, apart from maybe like one of those, that walk I did near Margate or something really close to Hobart that's almost in urban. Oculus Rift asks, do you have any trouble with snakes? How do you avoid being bitten? I would probably say no, I don't have troubles with snakes. I've had encounters with them. I'm thinking like that time on the Thumbs recently on Mount Hobhouse, and there was a couple of other incidents where I've been able to get them on film. How do I avoid being bitten? Oh, common sense. You know, if you see one, you can either wait for it to move out of the way, or you just go around it yourself. You know, there's always things like maybe don't step straight over a log, step on top of it because it could be on the other side. Gaiters are also, they're probably going to give you a bit more protection than bare skin as well. There are a lot of websites online where you can get information about snake bites and treatment. And I guess that's another thing, if you do get bitten, having the gear with you to help deal with it is essential. Luke Smith has asked, have you ever done Hutchison's Falls before or ever tried to? That's the one in Wellington Park, isn't it? Like out the back near Trestle Mountain and Mount Charles and Patrick, isn't it? No, I haven't ever done that before, and I've never tried to. But I've looked at it and sort of thought that might be a possible future trip. Perhaps in the winter months when when you might get a little bit more rain or water flowing down it. Brooke Johnny has asked, how old are you and how long have you been bushwalking for in Tassie? Cheers, mate. How old am I? 22. 1997, boy. How long have you been bushwalking for? Since about 2016, it's been more frequent, and that sort of coincided with the YouTube stuff. But before that, I did walks as well, like 2015 and back. You know, 2015 is when I did the South Coast Track and Overland, and did Frenchman's in 2013, along with multiple day trips. A lot of walks I've done when I was younger in high school and primary school and stuff, but on a frequent basis for about 4 years, I reckon. Probably coincides as well with the fact that I've got a car as well, I can get to all these places. Kenneth Smith Jones has asked, what's your I assume that's favourite, walk and meal on hike? Favourite walk is a tough one. I reckon I would probably put the Southern Ranges Traverse/Circuit, because that was incredible. And meal, well, it's actually a really cheap meal that I like. It's there's this $1 pasta tomato herb thing packet you can buy from Woolworth, and you combine that with a $1 to $2 sachet of tuna of the same flavour. And I've done that a few times on walks, and I really enjoy it because it's cheap, and I think it's good value for money in this case. So I would say that's probably my favourite meal because it's quite tasty for such a cheap meal. Contemptful has asked, on an overnight walk, what do you do around evening/night time after you set up camp? Do you read or stargaze or anything like that? Or are you usually pretty exhausted and sleep fairly quickly? In answer to the last part, no, I can very rarely get to sleep quickly, which is frustrating. Do you read or stargaze or anything like that? Sometimes, if the nighttime hours are longer, I'll often pre-download Netflix. Yeah, I know, such a millennial thing to do, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes I might listen to music as well in the tent if it's sort of raining as well. It varies. Sometimes I'll just sit around doing nothing, just thinking. Wide Tie asks, what are your thoughts on light/ultralight walking in Tasmania? Where does your average base pack weight sit? My thoughts are, I don't have an issue with people who do it. I would say I don't really get into the super ultralight stuff. It's always beneficial to reduce your pack weight, for sure. And I've sort of upgraded gear to get smaller, lighter things, like an air mattress and tent and stuff like that. I don't set out to buy the lightest possible thing when I go out getting new gear. Just opportunity cost, I guess. You know, I'm happy with what I've got, and I don't see a real need to get super lightest thing because they're not always the strongest. But obviously the technology is getting better with this sort of stuff. The ultralight gear is becoming sturdier. So maybe in the future I'll be buying some of that ultralight stuff. Where does my average base pack weight sit? Maybe like 14 kilos. Yeah, I'm not really sure, to be honest. Headworkin has asked, which has been your most challenging able so far? For us, it's a bit of a toss-up between Mount Tor and Parents Bluff/Mount Achilles, though for the latter, it was more the trip later. I assume that means latter. It was more the trip up to Leonard's Tarn that nearly killed us. I've never done any of them. I reckon the most challenging would be Precipitous Bluff, I reckon. Even though that was one of my favourite walks, it was still one of the most challenging walks. If I was going to go along the lines of like a day trip, maybe Medsamore up at Ben Lomond National Park, which I didn't film. But yeah, that was a really challenging walk as well. Robbie A has asked, it is said that less people have been successful at climbing Federation Peak than Mount Everest. Does this scare you, and would you ever think about doing it? Oh, I love to do Federation Peak. Probably not by myself. Does it scare me? Oh, scare is probably not the right word. I would say, I don't know, it doesn't really appeal to do it by myself. I guess you could say I'm scared of what could happen in the event of a fall. But yeah, I would love to do Federation Peak someday. Tom Hopkins has asked, hey man, is Federation Peak on the cards for you once parks get together and open the track again? Courtesy Van Diemen's Photog. Yes, it is on the cards. And again, sort of what I was saying before, if someone wants to do it with me, if they ever reopen it, send me a message. I heard that the Tahoon Airwalk is going to reopen soon, so maybe they'll reopen Farmhouse Creek track when they do it. Mr. Gates Dog has asked, can you please apologise for me for having Thunder by Imagine Dragons in your head on the Southern Ranges? Because that was torture when you'd sing it. I don't even remember singing it, to be honest. I thought I just kept it to myself. Well, you can blame the radio station for having it on as I drove down. I don't remember doing it, but if I did, I'm sorry. Okay, the next question comes from Fergus Marsh, who asks, are there any hikes where you're able to have fire? Probably not. Definitely not in a national park. Actually, the Leabera track, I think you're allowed to have a campfire, a small one, during winter, if you walk it in winter. But other than that, probably not, to be honest, given most multi-day walks you do are going to be in national parks. TT has asked, what international hikes would you like to do? A lot of the hikes in New Zealand look really good, so I've done a couple there before. Actually, some are on my really old videos on this channel. The Dusky track looks good. Kind of got a taste for Fiordland when I did the Milford track in high school, but the Dusky track looks really tough, and that's probably why it appeals, because you get less people doing it. The Northwest Circuit on Stewart Island as well, it's like a 10-day circuit, which looks pretty scenic. The Travers Sabine circuit, like that area around Nelson Lakes National Park. But outside of New Zealand, Iceland looks really awesome, but I don't know a heck of a lot of other international hikes, to be honest, besides in New Zealand. Another question from Mr. Gates Dog. Do you think Strive food is worth it? Yeah, I quite like their meals, Strive. I probably wouldn't have every meal as a Strive meal just because of cost, but they're quite tasty meals, and I would definitely take some on longer walks, like I did on the Southern Ranges actually. Had a couple of Strive meals then. Dave Campbell asks, does this count as a question? Yes, it does. Not really much else I can say to that, to be honest. Hiflios Helen, have I said that right, has asked, can you describe your cooking gear and food for a multi-day hike? Brekkie, snacks, lunch and dinner. Alright, cooking gear, I still use a Trangier, which is a bit, I don't know, some might say old school. Brekkie, I'll often take dry cereal. I don't mind eating dry cereal, to be honest, on a walk. Snacks, I tell you what snack I really like. It's you know, the Natural Confectionery, the little cubes of like the kind of gummy rock hard lollies, like lemon, raspberry and strawberry flavour and stuff. I really like them on walks because you can just pop them in your mouth and leave them there for a few minutes. I'll take other things as well, vary it up, but that's a bit of a mainstay one I can rely on. Lunch, usually wraps with like salami, cheese, cucumber. That's pretty stock standard for me. And dinner, it varies. You know, I've sometimes take those sort of those dehydrated meals you can get like Backcountry and Strive, as I mentioned before. Sometimes like continental meals because they're cheap. When it comes to dinner, I like to do it quickly. You know, I don't put a lot of effort into dinner. Some people might. Also, your gear list, I think you have the same. Or with the gear list, I've got a video which I uploaded last year called What's in My Pack, and I would recommend watching that to get a full idea of what I take on a walk. I think you have the same Mac pack. I don't actually have a Mac pack. I've got a Mont pack, especially if you're rainwear, wet weather setup, lightweight alternative that's reliable. I just got one raincoat to take on all walks. Do you choose such gear because you often scrub bash? Nah, to be honest, I just wear the same thing on all walks. It's worked for me so far, and I'll probably keep doing it. Would you consider changing any of your gear for lighter, or is strength and durability more important? I would probably say strength and durability is more important, because with scrub bashing, lighter clothing, you might get more likely to get snagged and tear. Joshin Kunz, sorry if I've got that wrong, I probably have, has asked, how do you plan a route and navigate on the go? How do you research a route and features along it? List map is a thing I use a lot as a resource, and also hard copy maps, so that's kind of how I plan the route and research it. And navigating on the go, I take a handheld GPS, that helps. The traditional map and compass, you know, and then also just sort of looking around, observation when you're on the walk, you know, reading the lie of the land. It sounds a bit cliche. Yeah, the specific website is List Map, Books and Maps. The Ables book is useful if you're going to climb an able, but obviously there's more to walking in Tasmania than Ables. Maps, yeah, hard copy maps I'll often take. Dedicated GPS, yeah, it's a Garmin GPS Map 64, I think. Phone app, I do have an Australia Topo Map app on my phone, but I don't use it for navigation. Yes, I do record my route via GPS. If the latter, do you contribute to online services like OpenStreetMap or Trails? No, I don't. I very rarely share a GPX file with anyone. I've only shared it to like a couple of people, I'm pretty sure. It's just, I guess it's sort of to prevent that whole sort of a lot of people going into off-track areas. Some might say this YouTube channel maybe encourages a lot of off-track walking because I post off-track walks. So it's food for thought and something I'm considering ahead of, you know, with the future of the channel and stuff. Jason Hickey, who actually accidentally replied to someone else, so don't worry, I saw it, asks, you carried a beer in your 50th able and recently passed halfway through the list, so fair to say you'll get 100 this year? Maybe. So I'll be expecting at least a happy dance on the summer for that one. Yeah, look, we'll see. I guess it depends on if I get there or not. Because I live in Hobart and I've done most of the southern ables. There's a few still around, but they're all tough, like Marriott's Lookout, the ones in the Spires, and the ones like Mount Wright and Stepped Hills, they're closed at the moment due to the bushfires last summer. And then of course the ones in the Arthurs. But we'll see. Question, is the complete round of ables your goal? Look, it's something it'd be nice to achieve one day, but if I don't do it, I don't do it. It's not such a big deal anymore. You know, a few years ago I was like so keen on the ables and wanting to do them all. Now it's like, it'd be good to do it, but if I don't do it, then it's not a problem. Also, you seem to have stopped bothering some of the close by peak bagger points, i.e. Wentworth Hills, no Darcy's Bluff, Shakespeare, no Darks Peak, King William 1, no Milligans and Pitt. That's a fair point. I do remember thinking, should I go up Darcy's Bluff when I did Wentworth Hills, and just being like, nah. I didn't realise Darks Peak was a peak bagger point. It had status for that. I thought it didn't. Milligans and Pitt. We probably should have done them on that day when we went last year. Yeah, maybe I have. I don't know, can I say in refute to that, or as a rebuttal, that I did Mount Charles in the Wellington Range a couple of weeks ago? Caitlin Mahoney, is that how you pronounce it? Has asked, oh geez, there's a lot of questions here. Do you use all of the footage when you put the camera down, go back and walk past it again? Or just the best of? I probably use most of the clips that I do when I set the camera up. Sometimes I'll cut out a few of them, but yeah, I generally use most of them. And can you please upload a bloopers version? Yeah, I'll have to give it a few more videos because I have this stupid habit where I delete a lot of bloopers on a walk, because I've always, I don't know why, like there was this great one where I was talking to the camera on the Meander Falls walk and I fell over while filming, and it would have been great to put in the camera, but I was just really annoyed with myself for slipping, and yeah, I deleted it. But I ended up with a nice scar on my leg as a result of that fall, so yeah, I should have kept it. Also, more seriously, in your opinion, which walk in Tasmania is your favourite? Probably Southern Ranges Traverse / Circuit via the south coast on the way back. Has the best views. I reckon the Acropolis is some of the best views I've ever had. Also, a lot of those mountains in around Lake St Clair, I think, are absolutely amazing in terms of views. Precipitous Bluff is pretty epic as well for views. Was the most challenging. Southern Ranges Traverse / Circuit has been the most rewarding walk. Southern Ranges Traverse / Circuit. Can you not wait? What's a walk I can't wait to tick off? Federation Peak. Mount Geryon, if I ever do that. And if ever one day I do the Eldons, that would be absolutely amazing. Jana, sorry I probably got that wrong, Vanisova has a couple of questions. I see 4, but that's all good. Any advice on snakes? I was sort of saying this before, I guess it's just sort of always keep an eye out. Don't just sort of start daydreaming when you're walking. How to stay safe, you know, come prepared for the worst case scenario. Go around them or wait for them to move. Generally they'll move. Do you prefer going on a walk alone or with someone in a group? Look, I'm happy to do both. The reason a lot of the walks I do are on my own is because it's easier to make a video when you're by yourself. But yeah, if someone's I'm always happy to walk with other people. So as I said before, send me a message if you're interested in doing a walk with me. If you want to come with me on a 5, 6, 7 day walk in mid-February in a couple of weeks time, definitely let me know. What is your go-to meal? I sort of said this before, it's that $1 Woolworths pasta packet with tuna sachet, the same flavour. How do you plan your walks? Bit of research, list map, looking at hard copy maps as well, useful websites for weather maps and forums. Yeah, list map, bushwalk.com is a really good forum. Checking weather, BOM, Bureau of Meteorology, some of the towns like Lake St Clair, Strathgordon, New Peelian Hut are good for getting an idea of the forecast. Along with Met-Eye on the Bureau of Meteorology for when rain will fall and wind. But also mountainforecasts.com, I think that's a good website as well if you're going to climb a mountain to get an idea of weather conditions on the mountain top. Another question from TT who asks, what boots are you currently hiking in? That's actually a good question. I bought them from Mountain Designs in Hobart before they closed, and now there's a Paddy Palin there. I can't remember what they're called, but they're a Mountain Designs brand, like they're not something else. Yeah, that's all I can say, sorry, because I've actually forgotten, because I threw out the box for them a while ago. TT has got another question, favourite on-the-go snack for hikes? Probably that one I mentioned before about the natural confectionery lollies. I can't remember what they're called, but they're like wrapped in paper and they're like a little cube. You just put them in your mouth and they last a few minutes. Mellow Boy has asked, what is your favourite walk? I would say Southern Ranges Traverse / Circuit. It's Hal 9000 has asked, I'm heading to Northeast Tasmania for the first time in February. What are your favourite half-day walks there you can suggest? I would say Leggers Tor from Carvilla is a really good one to do as a half-day walk. Ben Lomond is a fantastic place and that's a good introduction to it. Mount Victoria is another one. Mount Arthur is always pretty good. I've heard a lot of really good things about the Blue Tier, but haven't been there since my age was single digits. St Patrick's Head as well worth a visit near St Mary's. And a lot of the waterfalls there are really nice, but they're all sort of like less than 30-minute walks. It's a bit frustrating, you know, like Mathina Falls, St Columba Falls, Ralph's Falls, Evercreech. I've heard good things about Mount Cameron, but I've never done it. And Mount William National Park in the far northeast is well worth a visit as well. Harry Bird has asked, are you a fan of the continental pasta? And what's your favourite? Sour cream and chives, perhaps? That's a bit of a joke between me and Harry Bird, who's someone I work with, because there was this one time we bought continental meals for lunch and I bought the sour cream and chives flavour because I hadn't tried it before and it was not very nice, and I could have bought a cheaper one that was half price, but that's a bit of a joke between us. But yeah, look, I don't mind the continental pasta as a meal on walks because it's pretty easy and cheap. And last but not least, the question from Sophia H, who asks, key tips or gear suggestions you would give to hikers undertaking their first multi-day walk in Tasmania. Gear suggestion, I think something that would be absolutely essential would be a raincoat. You just never know when it's going to rain on a multi-day walk. Probably like warm clothing, like thermals as well, is something I would definitely take on a multi-day walk. Key tips. Come prepared for anything. Don't bring too little food. Always have enough water. Planning, I think, would be useful. You know, don't head off on your first multi-day walk and not know what you're getting yourself into. Or at least go with someone who knows about the walk. Maybe for your first multi-day walk, don't go by yourself. I've done it enough times now that I'm confident to go walking alone. Yeah, I think it's just preparation is a very important thing for your first multi-day walk. Hopefully that's sort of an adequate response to that. Okay, I think that's all the questions. So thank you so much for all the questions. This video is going to be a long one. Send me a message if you're interested in doing a walk. Western Arthurs might be the one we do in mid-February, but we'll see. Got a walk coming up in a couple of days' time planned to Lake Belcher. Bit of rain forecast over the next few days. That ought to be interesting. Look, yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you've made it all the way through to the end, you know, looking for your question, and I'll see you next video.